Hi everyone, this is Krista with Art Graphic Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to download, resize if necessary, cut and assemble 3 different tiered cards. So let's get started. If you have not already downloaded your SVG file, you can go to my Etsy shop by going to etsy.com and searching for Art Graphic Studio. Then scroll or search for the SVG you're looking for. If you are a Cricut Design Space user, you may be able to access my free designs. For more information, see my note at the end of this video. Sometimes, depending upon your system and/or your software, you may have to resize your uploaded design before you can make it. While I'm demonstrating this in Cricut Design Space, the same principles apply no matter what software you're using. So to get started, you'll need to upload your design files. Now, typically, in Cricut, this is going to be an SVG file. But there might be other files, PDFs or PNGs or JPEGs. So let's go to Upload, Upload Image, and Browse. Now we're going to go to where we know our files are, in this case, crafts and envelopes. Now today I'm going to show you on this 4.5 by 9.5 inch envelope. So I'll open that and open the SVG file. Now here's our file. So let's upload that. And here it is. Now let's just click on that. And you see this green border? That indicates that it's selected. So we want to add that to our canvas over on the lower right. Now here we have it. Let's make it a little smaller so we can see the whole thing. Now you can see it's all grouped. But before we ungroup it, we need to do one thing, and that is to resize it, or to see if we need to resize it. In this case, I said I wanted a 4.5 by 9.5 inch card. So I'm going to create a rectangle, unlock the edit, and change that to width of 9.5 and a height of 4.5. Oops, 9.5. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to move this size that I know to be the correct size into place. About there. And as you can see, that's pretty close. So I think I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it now. But let's say, for example, our envelope or whatever our project was came in at a different size. So here's the size we wanted. But as we can see, it's way too small. So we want to do now is to adjust the size of the project. In this case, it's an envelope. So I'm just going to grab the corner and I'm going to expand it until I get it about where I think it ought to be. Now I've gotten it a little too big, so I'm going to reduce that. And there, that's about what we need for it to be. So we don't need our rectangle anymore. And here we are, ready to start designating our score lines. So now we know it's the right size. Let's go ahead and ungroup it. Now we want to change our score lines into score lines because they come in as cut lines. And in order to do that, click on the area that you know to be your score lines. And the way you know these will be score lines is because this box right here turns red. So we want to change basic cut to score. Now you can see that we have our score lines. Now all you have to do is select both your score lines and your design and attach them. Now you're ready to make it. And when it comes up, you can see that your score lines and your design is all on your cutting board. Here are the components for the 3-tiered pull-up card. And here is the blank card that comes in your SVG file. Today I've chosen to do my project as a wedding card. So let's get started. This is the base tier, this is the middle tier, and this is the top tier. So we'll start by working on the base first. Let's go ahead and score or fold on the score lines. Burnish those down. I want to turn these so that the slits are toward the top. This is narrower than here, so you want to turn those that way. Now we want to take one of these and we want to slide it in here and out here and line it up about center way. Now we want to fold these over, but we want to leave a little bit of room here to make sure that there's plenty of room for it to slide, because this will be going up and down. And then we're going to put a little glue here. And we'll do the same thing on this. Get those as straight as you can get them. All right. Now, with your card turned where you just glued that, you want to take your cover and glue it right here. Now, I've got this overlapping, and so I do not want to glue that part to get on this part, only on here. So when I put the glue on, I'm only going to put it on the inside portion on those two sides. And I'm going to center it there. Now, if you don't have any overlapping, then of course you'll just put glue on the entire thing. Same thing on the middle tier. This doesn't have any overlapping, so we're just going to glue it right down. And get that lined up. There we go. Okay, now we're going to attach the top tier, which is this one, to the middle tier. So here's the side we just put on. We're going to turn that over, and we're going to put a piece of, I'm going to use red tape right here. You can use glue if you want to, as long as you don't get any glue on the back of the piece. So I'm just going to put a little red tape there. Pull the backing off, and now we're going to line this up there, but we want to make sure that we get it even on both sides. That looks about right. There we go. Start over. Okay, now that we've got that done, we want to flip it over, and we want to fold it like this, and then we're going to tuck it in here, and we're going to run a bead of glue here between these two. So our glue will go right here. And you can use tape if you're more comfortable with tape. I like to use glue. All right, here we go. We're going to put it between there and there. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. Let that dry for just a second. All right, now we want to put this on here. And you can see I got ahead of myself and put on backing on here when I didn't need to, so I pulled it back off. So what we want to do is put a little bit of tape
across here like we did on the other one. Not too much. And then we're going to line this up like we did the last one. Get it kind of in the middle there and all the way to the bottom. There we go. Okay, now we want to fold this over and we want to tuck this in and glue it here. I also have this little label I want to make. I want to put on there. I'll put that on last with dimensionals. So I'm just going to line that up and let that be drying while we work on the flowers. Okay, I want to get started on the flowers, and I'm just going to place them randomly and then see what it looks like. And I will come right back. Raise that up just a tad. All right, I think that's enough. I do have some extras if I want to put them a few other places. I could put a couple here, maybe just one. That looks good. I think I'll try that. I want to get it, on this case, I want to get the glue covered pretty well because I don't want it interfering with pulling up and down on that tier. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to put this on here. Maybe right there. That looks pretty good. And since it probably only needs glue on this end and this end, since it'll be popped up on the dimensionals. Okay, we're gonna let that dry while we work on our stand. Fold along the score lines. You don't have to make a stand, of course, but I think it looks pretty when it's standing up, like a display. Now, these will come together like this. So you've got a fold, valley fold, a valley fold, a mountain fold, and a valley fold. And then we will tuck that under there and glue along this edge. You could use tape too if you prefer tape. I like glue. And when you put this on your card, you can put a sentiment on the back of this, or you can put a sentiment on the card above it. So now we want to put our stand on the back. So we want to turn the card over, and we'll be gluing it just like that. We're going to let that dry. All right, and you can add an additional panel here if you'd like to put a sentiment there. I think I might do that. Of course, you can put it on with dimensionals if you'd like to, or you can just glue it on. I'll just glue it on. All right, so here's our card. So here's what it looks like when it's collapsed. And that's going to be about 6 by 7. So on this one, if you make it this large, you may have to make an envelope. Now, what I'd like to do is to put a little ribbon on the back, just to show where it will pull up. And then you can always fold that down when you put it in there. It's a little long, I'm gonna trim it a little bit. Of course, in your SVG file, I have included a little round or little oval pull. So let's glue that. I'm going to trim that a little bit. Go ahead and put a little extra glue up here, almost to the top. And I'm going to let that dry just for a few minutes. So I think I'm going to take one of the extra little flowers and just glue it in place there, just because I think it'll look prettier. Hide the bottom of the ribbon. So here's our finished card. Just a little stand. I think it turned out really pretty. I think I'm going to put some glossy accents on some of the flowers, but this has a pretty wide nozzle. So I think I'm going to take a small paintbrush and just paint around All right, I think that's going to be pretty. You could also put some rhinestones or some little pearls in there if you'd like to. I think we're going to stop right there. And here it is, extended. This is the tiered box card that you receive in your bundle. I have decided to make a retirement card out of mine. So let's get started. Now I know that I usually tell you the first thing to do is to fold on the score lines, but this one's going to be a little different. If you're going to use the panels, and we have several panels, if you're going to use those, and you probably will, you need to put those on your base first. So let's do that. This will go here, here, and then the same on the back. Now I went ahead and decorated the back of this one in case you didn't want to use this, and you don't have to decorate that separately, or you can put that on the back. So let's go ahead and glue our panels down. Now these two you will see from the outside. Now this will go on the back here, and you can write your sentiment or whatever you'd like. Of course, there's lots of different ideas that you can do with this card style. A garden, all sorts of things really. So use your imagination. All right. Now we're going to start folding our score lines. We'll wait on that one, let it dry for a few minutes. But each of these panels has score lines on each end. Now we're going to fold our score lines on this base. All right, now we're going to be putting in our panels on the inside. And the easiest way to do that is to run a bead of glue along this side here, line it up with the score line on this side. Don't encroach on the score line though, you need for it to be able to fold. So we will run a bead of glue here, and then we will fold this so it will glue down. Make sure you get the bottom even. And we're going to fold that over. All right, now we're going to take the next one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to line it up on the bottom, run a bead of glue, and fold it over. And we're going to continue to do that with these all the way down. Now on this last panel across the front, rather than folding it that way and then putting in, you want to go ahead and put glue on both sides, both ends of the panel, and then move it up so that it's in place along the very front and glue it in there. And there's your finished card. Of course, you can decorate it any way you'd like to. I've chosen a happy retirement, but you can certainly use anything. It could be a garden, it could be toys, it could be just anything you can think of. So here's our finished card. It folds flat to mail, 5 by 7. And here's the blank that comes in your bundle. This is a 3-tiered pop-up card, and I've chosen to make a happy birthday card. So let's get started. First thing we want to do is, as always, is to fold along our score lines. We'll move these out of the way. Here's our base. All right, here we have our base, and it's time to put our tiers on the base card. Now there's 3 of them. Each of them is divided into 4 sections with score lines in between. Now when you put these in the base, it's going to make a difference which way you put them in there, and I'll show you what I mean. So we'll go ahead and fold our score lines. All right, so you'll see on each of these, you've got this one and this one are the same size, and this one and this one are the same size. Same thing here, this one and this one, this one and this one. Same thing here, this one and this one, this one and this one. So when you put these in, they will go in like this, with this flat piece lined up here. Because, and you want this 3/4 inch to be on the top on every one of these. Like this. That will give you enough room to put your decor on those. So let's get started. And the first thing we want to do is we want to add some glue to this top line. You can use tape, double-sided tape if you like. I like glue. It gives me a little wiggle room. All right, so we're going to lay this here and we're going to center it, and don't bring it quite up to the fold line. Just pretty close. Then we're going to fold that down, give that a minute to dry. All right, next we're going to run a bead of glue right along this edge. And we're going to fold that under and fold it flat. So you can see that's the way it will sit. And this 3/4 inch just brings it out a little further. And each one of these risers is a little taller. So on the next one, we want to make sure that our 3/4 inches also. So it'll sit in there like that. And we'll do the same thing. We'll run a bead of glue along here. We will line it up pretty close to the last one. Make sure it's even on both sides, and fold our card down. And as we did before, on this very bottom one, we'll run a bead of glue there. Fold it under and lay it flat. All right, our last one, we'll do the same thing. We want it to sit in here like this. So we're going to put a little bead of glue along this top. Line it up, fold it down, and let that dry for a few minutes. Then we'll put our glue along this bottom. And let that dry. Okay, now it's time to decorate, and I have chosen to make mine theme a birthday card, but of course you could make it any theme you'd like to. And I've got lots of things that I can use. I can glue on. So I think I'm gonna take a few minutes and just decide what I'd like to do with it, and then we'll come right back. All right, this is the way I've decorated mine. Yours is just up to you, and I've included a gift card holder. Remember, if you do a gift card holder, just put the glue on 3 sides so you can slide your gift card in there. Of course, you can add as much or as little as you'd like. All right, now we're ready to make our belly band. And you can make a belly band if you want to use one in a number of different ways so that they will wrap around the card. You can either have them slide, or you can have Velcro, or even a magnet. And as you can see, this doesn't quite reach, but I have this buckle, if you will, that I'm going to put on it, and I'm going to glue here to here and here to here. And it will be a slide. That right in the center. Now we want to let that dry pretty good before we start putting it on and off of the card. I think it's dry enough now. We can just slide it right on our card. Of course, you don't have to use a belly band if you don't want to. That's just up to you. There we have it.
Thanks for watching, and if you find this video useful, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and notification bell to stay informed about more exciting projects. I appreciate you watching my video, and I will see you next time. If you're a Cricut Design Space user, you can access some of my shared projects by opening Cricut Design Space, and on the home screen, in the search bar, type Art, Graphics, Studio, and press Enter. Then scroll down to Community Members and click on Art Graphics Studio. There you'll find all of my shared projects.